The world is actively working to decarbonize its energy supply by reducing its reliance on coal, natural gas, petroleum. It is also increasing its use of the variable renewable resources of electricity for the grid. And one technology in particular is experiencing renaissance, the stationary battery. Driven by steeply falling prices and technological progress that allows batteries to store even larger amounts of energy, we now see grid scale systems showing record growth. However, recycling and reusing energy sources as well as better storage facilities and smarter city planning is required to sustain and grow utilization of renewable energy sources. Thus, dependency on external raw materials and a still developing supply chain is a major challenge. Dr. Rashi Gupta, fondly known as Batterywali of India, is the pioneer of manufacturing of advanced lithium batteries in India alongside with the world's smartest lithium battery. She is the founder and managing director of Vision Mechatronics Private Limited, leading it towards a name to reckon for in the field of robotics, renewable energy, and energy storage. A woman entrepreneur who has been fearless and ferocious in creating a brand for herself and the company in these male dominated fields, it was therefore not surprising that she became a prominent name in the renewable energy sector of India and is featured as Asia's most influential woman in Renewable Energy 2020. She has been working on gender equality and women empowerment issues globally. She has been awarded the Global Women Leadership 2021. She has also been featured among the first 50 women in STEM by CII 2021 for a contribution in excellence in STEM field. She has been awarded Corporate Guru World Award 2021 for her work in SDG 5 and SDG 7. She is very passionate to work on sustainable and circular development and is focused on SDG 5 and SDG 7. She has been working relentlessly for rural electrification to ensure that the rural schools in India get access to clean energy, enabling them to be at par with urban schools. One such example is at a primary school at Katavaram, Andhra Pradesh. She is also collaborating with colleges and universities for development on women in STEM and the preaching that has been effectively practiced for gender equality is having equal representation of men and women in the organization she heads. She holds degrees of BE, MBA, LLM, and PhD to her title. She is a committee member of the Bureau of Indian Standards for Batteries, Energy Storage, and E-Mobility. She is also a member of International Electrotechnical Commission. She is also a committee member of National Energy Storage Committee, FICCI, Chairperson, Energy Storage Team, International Solar Energy Society, and many, many more. Welcome to Threading Thoughts, and we are extremely happy to have Dr. Rashi with us today, also known as Batterywali. And she's got this name or epithet for a particular reason. Her, the passion with which she has worked towards energy and energy solutions. It could be a multitude of energy solutions or alternate thought processes. But what is important is to actually think, outside the box. And given that we have worked with a lot of electrical gadgets, and going forward, we know the kind of effect it has on the environment. It requires a lot of courage and different kind of thinking to say that here is, the future, and let's sort of work towards it. Now, it's not just thinking differently, but it's also getting people on board. So we are so excited to have you, Rashi, with us today. And thank you so much for taking time off. I know you're a very busy person, but it's so wonderful to have you.
Thank you so much, Mridula ji. It's a pleasure to be here on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I know right off the bat, there are just so many questions or so many things we want to talk to you about. But I sort of want to start off with something that's, keywords are usually bandied about. And what happens is sometimes there is a lot of thought process and work behind some of the new, innovations or ideas that come up. One of that is agrivoltaics. And, we just want to have an idea of what that is. How would they be actually beneficial to a very largely agrarian economy, given that India is that. But how do you think that sort of fits in with where we are right now and where we want to go?
Well, that's a very nice question that you've put in. You know why? Because we have forgotten that agriculture is our base. It's our foundation. And I see a lot of people moving away from it. Imagine if all the farmers were decide not to do farming any further. when and how are we going to get our meals? It's not possible. So what we have to do now is support with every possible way to each and every person involved in the agriculture business. It is very important for all of us. Sorry. Now, when we talk of agri-photovoltaics, what happens is energy is a very important aspect which goes into agriculture. Now, there are two types of energies here. One is the electrical energy and one is the energy of the human being that goes into the agriculture, into the crop, into the growing of that crop.
Absolutely.
And how now both of them are interlinked. Now, how are they interlinked? The question is, if you have enough of electrical energy and everything around you in your farm or in your agricultural land is working well, then your energy is much more positive, is much more organized, and is much more focused towards farming rather than battling the provisions of energy. So what we have to do now, right? So when you talk of agri-photovoltaics, what it helps is trying to help the farmer to generate its own electricity right at the farm, at the same time grow the crops and earn his livelihood. So he gets two benefits. Number one, first benefit that he gets is that he can generate his own energy right at the farm and he can grow the crops below it.
Right.
There is no transmission, no distribution, nothing. His own energy right at that place for himself. Now, there can be one more addition to this is when you generate your own electricity, many a times farmers are not able to consume the entire electricity right then and there.
Correct.
So there are two options to this. One is that you can feed back to the grid any extra energy that you don't want. And the second is store it and use it at the night time for your irrigation purposes. Because nighttime irrigation is the most effective irrigation.
Right.
There are least losses, there are least evaporation losses of the water, and you get the maximum revenue out of this. And the soil is pretty cool at that point of time. So the water is warm, but the soil is cool, and then you can still have the entire evaporation losses being taken care of in the night.
And the
drip irrigation works very well.
The seepage is more as well.
Seepage is more in the night. So that can give you a lot of efficiency in the farms. So agri-photovoltaics actually help a lot to the farmers when they are in the energy independent. See, energy independence is the key today. If you're very well energy independent, it really helps you in the long run.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in fact, that's beautifully said because, we have agricultural land as well. And often we don't realize. So these photovoltaic cells are on top of the crop is what I understand, right?
Right.
It's almost like a platform on top. So you're able to harness that energy. And in fact, as you said, even irrigation in the night, even, well-lit farms in the night, most of the time we are not able to light the farms up because of the electricity that's involved. So perhaps this also goes to keep the farm well lit through the night so people can walk around. There's not too many animals coming in, and damage to crops. There's so many other advantages like you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
True. Many things come along. See, energy brings in a lot of things together. It's not just the, light that you get. It's not just the light. It's the light bulb kind of light that I'm talking of. You get a lot of lights along with that one illumination light that you get. When there's electricity, when there's energy independence, when there is easy access, everything comes together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just as a query, how does one approach getting this installed in their farm? I mean, how do they even start off? Like even a small farmer, who do they approach or how do they go to get this done?
See, MNRE has many schemes. I mean, MNRE is the central nodal agency. You have state nodal agencies as well. And I think the best way out is, see, farmers, today everybody has a smartphone. If not everyone, there is a maximum access to a smartphone.
Correct.
If at least one in the family would have it, simple. These people can do a simple Google search solar installers in my place nearby. Google is that nearby function of Google can be used. And what you can get is there are many people who are actually working in agri photovoltaics, who are doing agricultural solar pumping solutions. Then there are a lot of storage solutions which are available, energy storage solutions which are available. And these can really help the farmers. I think Google is a one good friend. Second, MNRE is there, and their state nodal agencies can help you. And of course, there are a lot of companies which go out. We also do a lot of work on that. We're just now doing one more farm work with storage, because one more aspect of storage will energy storage would also help you with cold storages.
Yes.
Because yes, cold storage is also very important. Why? Because I have noticed that many farmers produce, if it is not stored properly, it goes waste.
Absolutely.
So lot of effort and energy and finances are involved in growing these crops, and then if it is not stored adequately with the right temperatures, it spoils, and lot of food is wasted. So cold storage, when you put agri photovoltaics combined with energy storage, I'm talking of a BESS here, you can actually have your cold storage located right at your own farm land and use it as and when you need it.
Absolutely.
So that is one more advantage of having agri photovoltaics.
That's fascinating. And, talking about energy, power, I come to this concept of this battery swapping. Again, I won't say it's a buzzword, but a keyword that we hear quite a bit, but I don't think we really have a clear understanding of what it is. So how feasible is actually battery swapping, and, how will this affect traditional transportation per se?
See, battery swapping is a simple concept. Take one battery which out of your vehicle and just put another charged battery out of your vehicle.
Okay.
Simple as that, just like how you refill your products at home. You get a pouch and you just put it into your bottle, so it's refilling. Same way, you get a new bottle and you just replace the old one.
Right.
That is what battery swapping is like. Now, there is a lot of work going on behind the scenes for standardization, for coming up with a policy for battery swapping. Even the budget had mentioned battery swapping.
Yes.
Now, battery swapping makes a lot of sense for the two-wheelers, for the three-wheelers, because we do not have a very vast charging infrastructure as of now. So what we need is, some points wherein, you have these charged batteries ready, stacked in a column, and you can just go with your vehicle, pull out a charged battery, put in your discharged battery, and you can move immediately. So this would take not more than 5 to 7 minutes, and you pay the money for the charged battery that as a rental that you've taken. So this becomes battery as a service or a battery swapping. And this gives a lot of value, because then what happens is you are not waiting in the charging queue at all. You don't have to wait for 15 minutes, 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever 1 hour time that you need.
Absolutely.
It's a quick, just like how you refill petrol and diesel in your vehicles and you're out, gas, you're out, same way. It's the same concept. Now, what happens is there are certain challenges to this, because every vehicle has a different kind of battery.
Right.
So those challenges are something that the industry and academia, maybe with some research and, with the policy and standardization, this has to be overcome now. This is what we all are working towards, to overcome these issues that we are currently facing.
So it's almost like going into a shop and, as you said, it's like a gas cylinder, right? You just refill, you swap your empty gas cylinder for a full one. And of course, that is a standardized procedure. I think we are used to it. But battery swapping seems a little more involved. But as you say, there's a lot of thought going into this, right?
Yes. Yes.
What is one big challenge that you see in that? Is there a challenge that you see in that?
I see safety as a challenge. I see standardization coming to one common ground of all the OEMs as a challenge, which is a little difficult right now, because battery forms almost 40% of the vehicle. So each one has some USP out there as well. So how do you bring them on a common ground is a slightly challenging job, but I'm sure over a period of time, we will find some common minimum ground to all of this, and we can overcome these things as well.
Absolutely. And, there is a lot of buzz around EVs and, but it's not just EVs, right? The ancillary services that need to be offered for EVs is equally important, because sometimes when people talk about a particular change, they also need to see what is the network or the setup, or the ancillary services that are set up around it. So, what is the need for the ramping up of ancillary services? How behind are we in those thoughts, or these the working of those? And how much has the industry really thought about recycling and upcycling already available vehicles as well? Because you have already a huge number of vehicles on the road. When you talk about a new technology, you also have to see about what you're going to do with the old technology or whatever is available already. It's not something that you just dump and walk off on the side of the road. So your thoughts on that?
Very well, very well. I mean, I simply love that question now here. See, what happens is, as you rightly said, when the new technology is coming, the old one will not go out. Okay, I personally firmly believe there is room for everybody. And the technology will prove who will stay in this game. Technology, economics, consumer adaptation, these will declare, who stays in the game. Now, what happens is recycling and upcycling are very important. And, retrofitting of the traditional vehicles into electric vehicles is something which has been taken up by 2-3 companies, which I know about and are doing it. But this will take certain amount of time. This will,
right.
And this will take a lot of work on the terms of standardization, safety, and, validation of these things that they are doing. This will take certain amount of time. But this is quite possible, and this will make the dead load on the waste management quite less. It will reduce the load on the waste management, because we will have tons and tons of scrap coming out of these vehicles, and we need to deal with that very effectively, because we have already loaded Mother Earth a lot with our pollutants, and we cannot afford any further, or else mankind will vanish.
Absolutely.
So we need to really work on that pretty fast. I think retrofitting will be a very good option out here on how we can, convert the existing petrol diesel vehicles, conventional vehicles, into EVs. That would give a very good boost. Also, lot of waste management will be saved. We really need to save that. Yeah.
So beautifully said. And I think, sometimes we always are so excited about new things that are coming. We don't think about what is already existing and how we can bring it into the system as well, because it has to be a very cohesive system that we're talking about. Nothing can just spring up and disappear on its own. As you perfectly said, we have already, burdened Mother Earth quite a bit. So I think we need to take a step back and think before we get excited about new stuff. Nothing wrong with getting excited. I think we need some little bit of thinking also as well. And, it's not just the hardware that I'm talking about. I'm also thinking of mindsets. I think that's very important. And you've sort of alluded to it once or twice when you have spoken as well, right? Getting people to come on board and think differently. But what would be your top 4 policy changes to improve sustainable energy production?
I think first is development of in-house ancillary services. We are totally dependent on things from abroad, other countries. We should not do that. We have enough brains, we have enough talent pool, we have enough resources. We just need to capitalize on that. I mean, when you talk of everything as made in India, just don't focus on the core. You need everything surrounding the core as well to make one complete product. So that's very important. So policy, when you're talking of, should not just only include the core segments, but also the ancillaries. And there should be a lot of emphasis given on the ancillary services, because you know what, the MSMEs form the very big core of these ancillaries.
Right.
And if we can focus on their development, because now once you're moving from auto industry, traditional auto industry, to the EV industry, these ancillaries will have to also be upgraded. These also will have to move, and the number of parts reduce, so the number of intelligence has to increase. So you have to act very wisely, very intelligently to let the entire economy survive. You have to make sure that the backbone still remains the backbone.
Correct.
Otherwise, the economy is going to crash. So we need to really work on that. We need to have a lot of intelligence. And, India is very, very strong with software and, brain, IoT and, digitization. We are pretty strong. So we should encash on that. We should not just look at, only being an India-oriented market, but even an export-oriented market. That is important for us. The next is we should look into a very big and very strong supply chain.
Right.
Post-COVID, the supply chain has gone for a toss. We are not getting, there's absolute ultimate shortage of materials going on. Very, very difficult to get your materials. Even if you are ready to pay them upfront, there is no material available. The raw material is absolutely in shortage. And then adding to the shipping and transit times, the lockdown period of 1 year in different regions in different time zones that we have lost. Covering that up is really very difficult right now. So we need to all work towards a robust supply chain, a secure supply chain. It could be local supply chain, it could be a global supply chain, it could be a mix and a hybrid mode of it. And I think India should only focus on going on hybrid modes, not going on one single mode, because we are a very diverse country geographically, and even the way we are. I mean, I would not call it religiously, but religion is no more in picture here. But how we are as a country, we have different interests in different parts. So what happens is we need to understand that this diversity is the strength that we have. Unity in diversity is our strength. So what we need to do is we need to create a supply chain which can combine this entire diversity and unite us together to withstand any such pandemic or any such circumstance which comes next to India, to become a very strong, robust nation and a very strong, robust economy that we want to become. So these are my policy points. I think if we can go and in a broad level and in a macro level and doing these things, I think we are safe from anything else that comes our way.
Amazing. And I think COVID really gave us a bit of a shocker. Sort of, whipped us back into, up on our knees, just to see what we didn't have and how much of a grinding halt we can come to. And as you correctly mentioned, the upstream processes are very important for any core product. We sort of depend on a lot of people externally. We also depend on, a supply chain which might not be, well established or well thought out. And something like a COVID pandemic and lockdowns actually sort of gave us a wake-up call. But you also mentioned hybrid energy, and I'm coming to that as well. So what do you feel, or in your opinion, what is the best hybrid energy source? And, why are these energy storage units actually important? Why are they even important for the future?
Okay. I'll tell you what, I feel India has always been a storage country. I mean, this I'm repeating on almost every forum that I speak on. Because right from the childhood till the time you are till the grave, you store something or the other. just introspect. To everyone listening to this here or everyone viewing this, just introspect yourself and see what have you stored till date and what have you not stored till date. And what have you not stored till date is the energy. Now it's time that we learn how to store energy. And not just electrical energy, but every form of energy that is available. Now, when I talk of, and electrical energy is of course very, very important because everything today runs on electricity. So what we have learned now is how to store this electrical energy. We were storing this, but on a very small scale.
Right.
Now we have to learn it on a very large scale. Why? Because the demands are increasing every day. And the need of, 100% reliable, assured, smooth power is something that has become the need of the day with advancing technology. And we cannot do away with the technology ever because it is very powerful. And we all love to be in power. so storage. Now, when you come to storage, you should have hybridization. Now, what is hybridization I mean? I mean hybridization as in multiple sources, even at the generation level and even at storage level. Now, when I talk of both of these, what it means is that you should have multiple technologies combined together in one single one single system or maybe one single place
Mhm.
to have to ensure that you're never out of energy or you're never out of power. So this is what we did recently, and recently in one of our cases that one of the installations that we did, we combined two different battery technologies together in one single system, in one common DC bus, so that at any given point of time, the user has a zero blackout.
Oh, wow.
It is ensured that the customer will have electricity coming from at least one of the sources that is available on site. So having a vision towards that, moving towards that is very important. So, multiple generation, like you can have solar, you can have wind, you can have hydro or mini hydro. I'm not talking of major hydros. And now this all depends on your feasibility. What is your feasibility on the site and how it is to be customized? That is the skill which lies out here. So hybridization is the key to success. That is what I feel. And hybridization in everything. You cannot bank on one technology or one source at all. We need multiple sources. We need multiple things. In fact, even COVID showed us the same thing, right? It shows us do not bank on one supply chain. Have multiple of them. So same way, have multiple energy sources together. You can slowly add all of them. You don't have to do them all one at go. Please add them multiple, in slow steps so that you create a foolproof environment for yourself.
Absolutely.
So that's hybridization to me.
No, absolutely, because you've correctly pointed out how we need to reach out to multiple resources and use all of them together. And the fact that more and more of us are using or need energy, and the fact is that all of us are online or doing something where energy is constantly required. So that's beautiful. And I cannot thank you enough for coming today and talking to us, because there are so many questions I posed, and it's just so easy to, make us understand that these are very, very important. And I'm sure there's so much more we can discuss with you. However, we also have our time constraints on, one particular podcast. But I do hope, people understand that there are multiple other ways that we can garner energy, and there is this need to conserve, but also to store energy. And we need to be very, very smart about what we do. And selfishness might not get us anywhere. I think, and COVID has taught us quite a bit on self-reliance as well. So I think these are really important things that you bring from your perspective as well. So thank you so much for joining us. And it was such a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be with you. And I hope we keep connecting like this further. And it's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.